This is a show about getting spooked for fun, and neither one of the hosts are associated with the attractions discussed in any way, except for those skeletons in Devin's closet. Some topics may go from ghoulish to ghastly, so viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the Great American Scream.
Adam?
Yeah?
I'd like to start off this podcast much like the hit movie Krampus begins, which is with a entire rendition of a classic Christmas song that you didn't even realize you've never heard all the way through until you hear it.
It's Bing Crosby's It's Beginning to Look Like Christmas, right? His version of it?
Yeah, no, it is. Hi, this is the Great American Scream. My name's Devin Wright.
My name's Adam O'Connell.
My point is, nobody knows how that song ends. Like, obviously you hear it all the way through and it just kind of goes through. But if it comes on Music Choice, the TV channel that your Nana has on the TV, and you go, oh, yeah, I like this song. You're singing it. You're loving it. But then by the end of the song, you've checked out. You started to talk to your uncle about the big game. And nobody realizes that song is like 4 minutes long.
I guess not. I always think of the other, what's that guy's name? Andy something who sings it, where the ending goes, the ending goes, Christmas, 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 Christmas. That's how that one ends, but I don't know about the Bing Crosby
I like how it has a kind of Cameron McIntosh, Alan Menken Broadway bump at the end, which I like.
It's the holiday season.
It's Krampus.
It's Christmas.
It's the holidays.
It's not... Christmas is sad. When this episode comes out, Christmas will be sad. Well, Christmas is Saturday no matter what, but when this episode comes out, it will be next Saturday.
It will be a Saturday coming up is what it will be.
And I thought we'd dedicate our holiday special this year to somebody who I don't think got enough respect the first time we talked about him.
I agree. Let's revisit this fun friend.
Yeah, he was kind of a blip. And I remember back in our Christmas special last year, and I mentioned that we wouldn't do a full like Krampus was going to get a full episode, but instead he didn't. Yeah. No, now he's going to get one.
Now he's going to get one.
Our
and
podcast.
He's specifically going to get one. He's specifically going to get one through the lens of the incredible 2015
Krampus?
Yeah. Because, oh my God, Adam. Okay, so to set the scene for y'all, whenever Adam asks me to watch a movie, I'm usually like, okay, when am I going to fit this in? And am I going to make Ezra watch it with me? I want to be on for it. I want to be paying attention. And I'll be honest, gang, wasn't really looking forward to Krampus, the hit 2015 movie. But I did find a belief in Santa and a love of Christmas and the holidays in my family. In this film.
Oh, okay.
And also of incredible production design, a way too killer cast for what this is, and an actually really funny script. Guys, this movie slaps.
This Krampus is an excellent movie.
It's so good. And I think what we'll find is best about it is that it's PG-13.
It's the people's horror movie. It's the people's Christmas horror movie. It's the people's.
This one's for the kids.
Yeah. They got one F-bomb in there. Just one. It's only one.
Just one. They also got a mother fudger in there, which I love a good fudge,
We're going to talk more about the movie later in the script, but before then, I think we need to talk about the man behind the film, the terrifying history of the holiday season's sexiest
the beast behind the man behind the film about the beast behind the man.
Yeah. And full disclosure, I wrote this outline, hopped up on Dayquil with 101 fever for my booster shot, and I'm still kind of coming down from that. So sorry. So let's talk about the man.
Guys, you can't see it. He's blasting 5G waves out of his eyeballs.
I am in pajamas. I'm super bass boosted. But anyway, the man, Krampus. Who is he?
You know him. You love him. Just kidding. You don't know him yet. That's the point of this podcast. So
yes, we did talk about him in our Christmas Creatures episode, but he's perhaps the most famous frightening Christmas creature. So Krampus is a figure from pre-Christian Alpine folklore, which is like, we're basically talking about the kind of Bavaria area, if you will.
The Bavaria.
Yeah.
You can just say the Bavaria.
Yeah, but it's already called Bavaria, so you gotta call it the Bavaria area.
That's fair. Can we call it oh no, I was gonna go for above area, but there's no joke that goes with Bov. Please go on.
Okay, but mostly Austria. That's typically where most of the Krampus lore comes from.
Okay, stop me there.
Yeah.
Bavaria, Austria, two different two different things.
I'm talking
Bavaria
about the
is
general
a state in Germany. And okay, so we're kind of in the Salzburg, Bavaria.
I'm talking about like not Bavaria before, like, because we're talking pre-Christianity.
Bavaria, the Germanic tribe.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So he is the assistant of Saint Nicholas and is meant to punish the naughty children. While Saint Nicholas,
he's kind of a Bernard figure.
Bernard, like from the Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's kind of a Bernard.
I don't think that's what Bernard's job was in that movie.
I think it was, but okay, agree to disagree, I guess.
So, while St. Nicholas rewards the good ones with gift, he is a horned half-goat, half-man, usually depicted as very hairy, usually brown
Sounding
or black.
Very Bernard-esque.
And he has a forked tongue and fangs. Typically standing...
That's all Bernard. That's Bernard all the way down.
Yeah, typically standing like 7-8 feet tall. 6 feet tall and super strong.
7 feet tall and with goat horns.
So he carries chains that are thought to symbolize the binding of the devil and will thrash them for dramatic effect. Sometimes he puts bells on the chain to make it a little
fun.
fancier.
I love a Christian figure. I mean, pre-Christian.
Yeah.
So this was a pre-Christian tradition that then got kind of folded in.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
Right. So I love a folkloric figure, especially in Christianity, who, for all intents and purposes, looks like a demon, but for some reason is not. Like, this guy loves Saint Nick. He loves God and Jesus. Don't be frightened by the way he looks. He loves the good holy book. Like, that's him.
Yeah. He also carries around the Rootin, which is like a satchel of birch rods, which he uses to hit naughty children. Also, he sometimes appears with a whip. So it'll vary. And he also sometimes appears with a basket strapped to his back to cart off children for drowning, eating, or transporting to hell. I guess that's if you're like really bad. Like if you're normal naughty, you get hit with birch sticks.
Yeah.
But what do you have to do to get carted off to hell by Krampus?
Yeah, maybe he never means to transport a kid to hell. Maybe like he has his lists of errands, like he brings the kid to the laundromat. While laundromatting, he drowns the children, but sometimes while he's folding his clothes, he forgets to drown the child. Child ends up with the folded linens in the basket, and then they go down to hell, and he's like, dang it. I brought a ding-dang kid down here again.
That's the plot of the movie Elf, kind of.
Okay, so you're going to attack me for my bringing up of Bernard.
No, but I'm right is the thing.
To pull that.
No, the thing is that I'm right.
That's cool how that works.
So the Krampus folklore is thought to have begun with pagan winter solstice rituals far before Christianity and far before St. Nicholas existed. He was his own thing. There's some debate as to who he was before he was with St. Nicholas. One is that he is the son of Hel, the Norse god of the underworld. This is debated. Not everybody agrees with this folklore. He also has origins tied to the Yule goat, which is a tradition that has origins in ancient pagan festivals. A popular theory is that the celebration of the goat is connected to worship of the Norse god Thor, who rode in the sky in a chariot drawn by two goats. And so the Yule goat, like the function of the Yule goat as a symbol of the holiday season, has changed throughout the years. Sometime in the 17th century, it became a part of like the wassailing tradition. So when you go wassailing, you get drunk and
as we do.
You run around town, you sing songs, you play pranks on people. Kind of like Marie-Lou, Lervan situation. We just, as humans, enjoy getting trashed and walking around being a public nuisance.
We don't wassail anymore.
No, we don't wassail anymore.
I mean, like, during Pride, I would say
that's wassailing.
Most gays are basically wassailing.
Yeah.
But we don't do it without get the boys together and go a sailing.
Yeah,
don't
me and
get
the boys.
boys together.
Me and who?
Get the me and who? Get the various LGBT trans and gender nonconforming friends together and go a sailing.
Go a sailing. So when in the 17th century, during the wassailing tradition, men would dress up as different characters that related to the holiday. And the Yule goat was one of these characters. And sometimes the Yule goat would be depicted as like frightening, like he was the scary part of the group.
Why do you always get to be the Yule goat, bro? You were the Yule goat for the past 5 years, bro. I just want to be the Yule goat.
So,
you're making me be Sausage Swiper, the Yule lad, and I want to be the Yule goat.
Oh, by the way, a couple nights ago was the first night of their what are they called again? The Yule Lads?
Shindig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple nights ago was the first night of the Yule Lad, so I hope whatever night you're on, you're enjoying him.
Yeah, I hope that your sausages remain unswiped.
Yeah. So this is also perhaps where Krampus as like a legend came from the Yule goat. So with the spread of Christianity, Krampus became associated with Christmas because, Yule gets associated with Christmas, therefore Krampus did. Yeah. Despite the efforts of the Catholic Church, who tried really hard to ban Krampus from like the Germanic and the Alpine areas.
You can't keep that boy down.
You can't keep a boy down.
They probably tried to do that with trees too. They were like, stop it. That's the Saturnalia. You guys are messing it up. Please stop putting trees in your house. It's a fire hazard. And people are just like, you know what? Screw you, Dad. 100%. Dad being the Pope. Papa.
the Papa.
The Dad.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I lost my... okay, so this is kind of where he became the bad cop to St. Nicholas's good cop. That's essentially his function. Is that in a lot of cultures outside the United States, Santa has friends that he brings along. He doesn't do all the work himself.
Not elves. Yeah.
Yeah, not just elves, though. Like, we talked about them in Christmas creatures. Like, there's Yolakatorin, the Yule Cat. There's Père Fouettard, the French guy who I think eats children.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
There's Stinky Jim in Australia, and he stinks. Is his thing. Yeah, I mean, America loves to make children and adults alike believe in a thing despite it being physically impossible. Example 1, Santa being able to deliver all the presents without help of various other mystical creatures who are also very fun and don't get included. Number 2, the benefits of capitalism to the working class.
If America had their own version of like a Krampus or a bad cop for Santa, what would we create?
It would be a corporate mascot. It would probably be Grimace. Imagine Santa and Grimace.
What would Grimace do to the naughty children? Or would Santa handle the naughty children and Grimace would take over?
Love that idea, but no, I think that Grimace would subsume them into his massive flesh, becoming stronger with each child devoured.
You hear that, kids?
Which is already actually the fiction of Grimace in the kind of McDonald's mythos. That's already his thing.
You hear that, kids? He's like Galactus. And adults? Beware.
You hear that? Grimace is coming for you, baby.
Get your booster shot. So in about the 1890s, Krampus kind of entered pop culture outside of the traditions through Krampus Cartoon, which we also talked about in the Christmas Creature episode. But so Krampus Cartoon was an alternative to traditional Christmas cards, which started in England in the 19th century with from the company Currier and Ives, which is why we sing a picture print from Currier and Ives.
Currier and Ives.
I'm pretty sure I sang the same fun fact last episode, but it's a very good fun fact.
You're full of fun facts, Adam. That's something I love about you.
That's why, like, when I'm like watching a movie with somebody and they're like, "Hey, shush," I'm like, "No, I have a fun fact."
No. Did you know that person was?
Yeah. Anyway, so Krampus Cartoon was an alternative take on that, and they were meant to be sent to naughty children. They would say Gruß von Krampus or greetings from Krampus and would depict Krampus in various states of beating children and tossing them in baskets and sending them to hell and stuff. But also there were some other takes on, like, they became kind of this humor thing where there were all these Krampus cards depicting women. One of them, like him proposing to women. In some, Krampus is a large woman whipping tiny men with her birch sticks and then carrying them off in her satchel.
Feminism.
There's one of this like smiling woman dangling Krampus in the air, holding his bundle of birch sticks behind her back.
Rosie the Riveter, who?
Yeah, we kind of got into some
me?
stuff here, gang. And interesting, the Krampus tradition was actually made illegal in Austria starting in 1932, made prohibited by the fascist Dollfuss regime.
He was just when you thought you could start getting along with fascists, they get rid of Krampus.
He was banned for quite a while, or at least heavily discouraged. In the 1950s, the government distributed pamphlets titled "Krampus is an evil man," which is like, I get they were trying to, but like, isn't that the thing?
Fronts.
Krampus is,
but also incorrect. Not evil. He's an amazing person, and he's also not a man. He's a goat.
However, towards the end of the century, a popular resurgence of Krampus traditions occurred and continues today. It really kind of got its resurgence. The reason that we still do it is because like the late 80s and 90s and stuff. And Krampus was exposed to North America around the turn of the millennium, probably around 2004, when art director and graphic designer Monty Beauchamp published a book of Krampus cards and helped organize an art show inspired by the cards. Americans went, hey, look at this fella.
Hey, I like this guy.
Hey, what's this guy's deal?
Hey, we have a whole tradition of cryptozoology. Let's get him in the mix. Come on in, Krampy.
So the celebration around Krampus is called Krampusnacht. So the feast of Saint Nicholas is celebrated in parts of Europe on the 6th of December. That's the more kind of Christian, I almost said the more Christian version of Christmas, the more saint version of Christmas.
Right, it's the actual feast.
It's the feast day, yeah. It's celebrating the actual Saint Nicholas as opposed to baby Jesus. So on the night before, the 5th of December, is Krampus night or Krampusnacht, where people dress up as Krampus and roam the streets, in the great tradition of scaring children into behaving. And kids will leave their boots outside, and if they are naughty, Krampus will fill them with coal. And sometimes, accompanying St. Nicholas, Krampus will visit homes and businesses and scare children. And unlike...
Why does he visit businesses? Why are there children at businesses?
Yeah. Unlike North American versions of Santa Claus, in these celebrations, St. Nicholas only concerns himself with the good children. Does not give the time of day to the bad children. Krampus has got covered.
Sorry to these men's.
Yeah. Another Krampusnacht celebration is the Krampuslauf, or literally Krampus Run. And this is when we think of Krampusnacht, the pictures we see of like the parade with the men and torches. That's Krampuslauf. People dress up as Krampus in these really intricate costumes made of like real fur and like carved wooden masks and stuff, and light torches and get blasted and roam the streets scaring and chasing people.
Listen, Ezra never listens to this podcast, but legally he's not allowed to listen to this one because if he hears about Krampuslauf and looks up the costumes, he will disappear and never come back. He will become Krampus.
I'm going to say it later in the thing, but there's a Krampusnacht in LA.
Oh, no.
I think you missed it, but...
you can look it up.
But so it's traditional to offer Krampus a schnapps when you see him, which leads to most of the Krampuses being wasted. It is a night of complete and utter chaos.
Good for them.
In North America, the event is toned down a little bit. It's not quite as feral as it is in like Austria and Germany. But Krampus events are now held in cities across North America annually, including Washington, D.C., L.A., Toronto, San Francisco, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Dallas. I have to imagine that Krampusnacht Philadelphia is something else.
People are going to die.
Yeah.
You know?
He has also appeared in a lot of Western media, including film, television shows, video games, and perhaps most notably in recent years, the 2015 horror comedy Krampus, directed by Michael Dougherty, which is what I made Devin watch.
And it's so good, guys.
It is.
Like, I wasn't expecting a bunch, but what I wasn't expecting mostly was anything of value in this film other than probably the design of Krampus. Like, I was like, you can't really screw that up. It's good from start to finish. There's like art going on because it's PG-13. All of the bad stuff has to happen in in subtle ways that like don't get bloody or gory. So you have all of these crazy creatures that are incredibly well designed that look like Island of Misfit Toys, like understudies. The cast on this flick.
So this movie stars Adam Scott, Toni Collette, and David Koechner, which is like Toni Collette
is serving in this film when she has that shot after the girl goes up the fireplace.
Yeah.
And it's just slowly pushing in on her. She's selling it.
Good for her.
But also, like, Allison Tolman is really good. Conchata Ferrell, who is in, like, Mr. Deeds and other stuff. Like, I love her. I couldn't believe she was in this. Like, it's an incredible cast. And they're all giving.
Yeah, Adam Scott does a fantastic job in this movie.
You can tell that he was, like, excited to do this flick.
Yeah.
Like, that his agent was like, maybe not Krampus. And he's like, maybe actually Krampus.
Yeah. So the movie was written and directed by Michael Dougherty, who brought us Trick or Treat, which is one of my favorite horror movies ever. And he's just in general.
He also did Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yes, he did.
That's him.
Was it versus Kong or was it one of the other Godzillas?
Yeah, no, he did King of the Monsters and Kong.
Nice. But he's one of my favorite horror creators just because I think the tone of his movies is excellent. And which is weird because that's one of the points of criticism people say about Krampus, that the tone is weird. I enjoy it. I think it's great.
I think it nails the exact tone that you want from a Christmas themed horror movie. Yeah. Like where you know it's going to end okay.
Exactly.
At least, like, you know that it's going to be silly at times. You know it's going to, like, lean into those, like, for some reason, Christmas horror is the perfect horror movie because it knits together all the stuff that you want from, like, a horror movie that, like, you would show a kid. Like, genuinely, this is a great PG-13 horror movie that, like, for a young teenager, you want the lesson of the horror movie to be, like, be friendly, don't, love your family. And this movie does it really well.
It's set up exactly like a regular Christmas movie is, like Home Alone, like A Christmas Story. Like, it's set up exactly like that. Which I think is why I think other Christmas horror movies like Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night, I don't consider those Christmas movies. I consider Krampus a Christmas movie. It feels like a Christmas movie.
Yeah, when people are annoying and they're like, Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie, come back at them and say that Krampus is
a Christmas movie. Yeah. Krampus is a horror movie, but it's also a Christmas movie. So if you haven't seen it, we're going to spoil a bunch of it. Sorry. In the film, a dysfunctional family of squabbling causes a young boy to lose his festive spirit, and doing so unleashes the wrath of Krampus, who lays siege to the neighborhood and kidnaps everyone he knows and loves. It is.
Well, we also have to say he doesn't. Okay. It's not just that, like, he loses his festive spirit and so Krampus shows up. He specifically writes a letter to Santa and then crumples it up and throws it out the window, which apparently, if you want to get a letter to Santa, you put it in the mailbox. Yeah. And you put the flag up and the USPS person comes and they get it to where it needs to go.
2020 Candy Cane Lane or whatever.
To get a letter to Krampus, you got to get real angry, crumple it up, and throw it out of a snowy window.
Yeah. So it's very much a horror comedy. And like I said, its tone is something that was criticized, as well as the twist ending, which I kind of agree about the weird twist ending, but whatever.
No, I love it.
We'll talk about that later.
I'm so into it.
In general, it did really well, grossing over $61 million against a $15 million budget, which is pretty darn solid.
15 million for the amount of, like, there's not a ton of CG in this film. Like, a lot of it is practical, which is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
But the visual effects are really good. Like, in that very silly finale, the ground starts to crack open and it's good. Like, it doesn't look there. Like, it looks good. The most obvious CG is the particle effects on the snow, but we can't do that yet.
Right,
we don't have that tech yet.
The concept was first formulated in 2011. Michael Dougherty said that he'd always wanted to do a Christmas horror movie, but unsure what he wanted it to be about. And I agree, Christmas horror movies tend to be really hit or miss for me, with a lot of clunkers and only a few gems. I think they're very hard to do because they feel gimmicky. But he got the idea when one of his friends sent him an e-card with Krampus on it, and he said it was, quote, love at first sight.
E-cards.
Yeah, 2011, baby, E-cards. I love this movie. I really do. I know some people would have preferred if it took itself a little more seriously, because the thing about the Krampus legend is it's not supposed to be funny. Like, people make jokes,
Right.
but like it's treated as a very like an actively scary thing. So I guess some people would have
depending
preferred
on when we're
that.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on when we're talking about, though, because, like, Krampus Cartoon is
silly,
funny. Yeah, and, like, the modern tradition is silly.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not Michael's fault.
Right. Mr. Doherty. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it reminds me, so much of a Christmas, like a classic 80s Christmas movie, but also a classic
Yes.
80s monster movie, and it's a home invasion movie.
Yeah, it is Home Alone mixed with, like, a Christmas Story somehow.
Yeah.
And then, like, any monster movie.
Yeah. It's really great, and the visual effects really, really sell it.
Yeah.
There's some amazing creature design in this movie that I want to go through and talk about. They're done almost, like Devin was saying, they're done almost entirely with puppets, animatronics, and actors in costume. Some CG effects were used, but most of what you saw is practical. Starting with Krampus, some of his effects and movement were CG, like him jumping from building to building the first time he appears. He was also a completely finished and functional suit, and he was performed by Luke Hawker. And Krampus is incredibly frightening and very well designed, incorporating elements of both his original folklore, like the bells and the chains, as well as new concepts, like Krampus having the big beard and wearing the fake Santa suit, which is not typically
and
a thing.
having a weird face.
Yeah.
Also.
Well, if you look at the concept art, as well as Weta Workshops, who did the visual effects, their original statuette, it appears as if Krampus...
That's what I was looking up.
Yeah.
That's insane. If you don't know Weta, they did Lord of the Rings. It's like the big one. Like, all of they're revolutionary.
Yeah.
It's insane that they did this stupid little movie.
Yeah, and if you look at their concept art, it seems as if Krampus is wearing like a skin mask like stretched over an obviously non-human skull to like hide his like monstrous form, which is wild and I like a lot. He is less goatish than maybe he's got the horns, but really doesn't really have a lot of other goat stuff going on.
Yeah, I think what they're going for, I mean, the grandmother who only speaks German, which, hey...
Until
like,
she needs to give
up,
exposition.
Right, but she signed up... You signed up to watch a movie called Krampus. Of course, you're going to have a German character who explained who Krampus was. But also, I have such a thing. Sometimes there are subtitles and sometimes there are not. And you can tell that there aren't going to be subtitles when one of the characters translates for her. Choose one or the other. Either have a character always be translating for this woman or
have subtitles all the time.
The idea, right, was that she said that it's the ghost of St. Nicholas, which I think is why it's like Krampus has
more
that
Santa-y.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that skin, like he is Santa. Like that the idea of Santa, St. Nicholas, and Krampus came from the same being doing both things, I think is the idea.
But also
Not that it
that the
matters.
scene where she does speak English and goes into the backstory, it's the fake stop motion sequence, is one of my favorite sequences in the whole movie.
You gotta you got like a Deathly Hallows Tale of Three Brothers.
It's not
style
even real
animation
stop
in this
motion,
film.
but it looks like it.
No, it's so good.
Yeah. I like the other figures, except for the grandma, were done using like cardboard shadow puppets. But she is CG. Then they made her, they animated her so she would look like she was stop motion, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about my favorite creature in this movie, which is Der Clown, the Jack-in-the-Box.
Oh my god.
I think is the best creature in the entire movie. This thing is horrifying. It's this massive snake-like Jack-in-the-Box that was, again, entirely practical, including the part where his like jaw unhinges, all practical.
That's insane. You can kind of tell it's practical in the specific shots when you're only seeing its like spring body.
Yeah.
Like when you're only seeing where you're like, there's some dudes in there. I can see the dudes in there.
It's so cool,
but it's so charming.
I was watching videos of the way they do it, because what's I think really interesting is that if you think of the way his body is, it's got this like big accordion-like, and it's huge body that, and then it kind of bends up to its like upright form where its head is. And the way they did that, because it's kind of like bobbing back and forth on its axis as if it's a Jack-in-the-Box. And the way they did that is that they had like a performer like in a green screen suit behind it who had like a strap and was so that the actor in the Jack in the Box suit could like fall forward and let their weight go and then they would be pulled back. Yeah. It looked great.
That's really cool.
It is absolutely grotesque. The reveal of it when it's swallowing a child is a nightmare. Toni Collette acts the shit out of it, but it's a nightmare.
God, she does. Toni Collette, why were you in this film? But thank you for being in this film.
Yeah, it is. This thing is a nightmare. My favorite part
of Adam Scott is having fun.
Yeah, Toni Collette is
acting.
And one of my favorite parts of the film is when the elves, who I don't even put in this outline because the elves are insane looking.
They're so cool.
But when the elves break in and they like save the Jack in the Box, and the Jack in the Box gives one of the elves like this weird, scary hug.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because they're friends. Like they established that like Krampus and his gang are like there to have fun and be friends with each other while punishing everyone else.
And not only like the way it moved with the bobbing and the slither, but like because it's portrayed by a real person, it allows for these quick, sharp movements. Like when Tom first tries to shoot it and it dodges out of the way, which is very off-putting because it suddenly starts moving very quickly, but not in like a weird CG way, and like the way that an actual thing would.
Yeah. And there's a lot of guns in this film. I find it I almost started to make a list of the one-liners I was so in love with, but like there were too many of them, so I just stopped because like the USPS man comes to the front door and is like, "Here's some presents," and they're like, "Oh, that too," and it's like this weird bag of random gifts, and then one of the characters goes like, "Oh, who gave us all this free stuff?" And then his wife goes, "Probably the Democrats." Like, what is this film?
One of my favorite moments in this whole movie that really makes me laugh heartily every time it happens is after the elves break in. I think it's Aunt Dorothy gets like yeeted out the window or whatever by one of the elves, and it makes this ridiculous sound effect of like a slide whistle when she flies out the window, and then it cuts to Adam Scott who goes, "Ah, great."
Yeah, it literally pauses the movie to let her have a comedic death. Like it's supposed to be scary. The elves are like invading the home and taking everybody. The wind is whipping in and everything's getting cold. Yeah, take the baby. And this woman goes like, beans. And then that Scott goes, "Oh, great."
It's so funny. I can't remember what we're talking about now. Yeah, I think the Jack in the Box is the best creature in this whole movie, although I did find when I was researching that apparently some people on DeviantArt when this movie came out used to be horny for the Jack in the Box. Jail. Prison even. All of you. Jail.
We need to let them have this.
Jail. No. Anyway, I also Perchta, the cherub, which is a little angel that she encounters in the attic, is a really cool creature.
I love that.
Named after Frau Perchta, the other like Germanic Christmas evil person.
Hell yeah.
She's also pretty much entirely practical, being both a puppet and an animatronic. And that's a amazing looking piece right there. It moves so well and it's freaky. Same thing with Teddy. The bear is one of my other favorite creatures because he's just a puppet and he looks great.
Yeah. What I liked about Perchta is that she looks like if a scary clown doll killed Hedwig and used its body.
Oh.
So that's a cool thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the teddy bear too because it's just a puppet and it moves super duper well. There's also the gingerbread men who are entirely CG, but man, are they delightful.
Yeah, but they're fun.
They're supposed to be the Three Stooges.
You can tell they wanted to merchandise those babies.
And one of the voice actors for the gingerbread man, Seth Green.
Seth Green, he was in one of the
he was in Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed.
Scooby-Doo films.
Yes.
Yeah, he was also Mantis in the Kung Fu Panda film.
Oh, that I didn't know.
A little fun thing for you.
I remember him.
See, I have fun facts too.
I remember him from being in the second Scooby-Doo movie as the museum curator and Linda Cardellini's love interest. But yeah, I love this movie. And like, is it, super scary? Not really, but it doesn't matter. It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I mean, there are moments where the film pauses to contemplate what it's doing, and it has like a classic horror thing where you're like, if I was in the dark watching this movie, like in a theater, it would be kind of spooky. The entire opening sequence of the mall, Santa, and the music, it gets unsettling.
Yeah.
Like it goes on that long.
Also, what I like is that, you know, all the other creatures kind of get their comedic moments, but Krampus is always played entirely straight, as are the elves pretty much. And they're the scariest creatures in the movie. So,
yeah, for sure. And as silly as the ending is, I think it's spooky.
Yeah, I mean, that's my thing is like, how else were you going to end it?
Right. Like,
you weren't going to kill the whole family. That would be way too dark. Like,
right. But you also can't have it be completely perfect and everything's okay because then it's not a horror movie at all.
Exactly.
So like the second you come back, you see like that haze over the thing, then you see the gift box and you're like, it's gonna be the bell. I know this.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. Like when you're able, with a movie like this, that I don't think it was aiming to be scary, and I also don't think it was aiming to be like this perfect, like heartfelt Christmas movie. It seems like the kind of movie that Mr. Michael himself put together in a way that somebody actually watching it can be like, oh, I think this is going to happen. Oh, it did. That's so cool. Like, it feels like a little puzzle.
It's fun. At the end, you're like,
it's such I got a good it right.
Watch. If you're looking for a new holiday movie this season, watch Krampus.
Hey, watch Krampus.
It's great.
Stop the podcast.
Just go watch it, even though we've spoiled it for you. Although we didn't spoil everything.
No.
We spoiled a lot for you.
Was.
Yeah. But go watch it anyway. It is so fun. It's a gut buster. It's a knee slapper.
Krampus will come out of the TV and slap your dang knee. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, a little short one for Krampus.
Yeah,
hey,
for your little holiday break. Go make some cookies.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Great American Scream. If you enjoyed, please leave a rate and review on iTunes and a follow on Spotify. You can also share it straight to social media from Spotify, so please do that if you enjoy. But the best way to spread the word about the show is to tell a friend, so please do so. Anybody who likes Christmas and also spooky stuff, you tell them, have I got a podcast for you? And also a movie, but podcast first.
Yeah.
And Adam, can you pick for our social media, please?
I can. You can check us out on Facebook at The Great American Scream, or much more frequently on Twitter and Instagram at Great Scream Pod. You know what? If you've ever been to a Krampusnacht, I want pictures. Tweet us pictures of you at Krampusnacht.
Ooh, yeah.
Or tell us what you think of the 2015 Krampus movie. You can tweet at us or post using the hashtag TGAS. And as always, if there's something you'd like to hear about on the show, make a post or tweet at us, because your suggestion may become a topic for a future episode.
Yes, special thank you goes out to Michael Segudo for the intro disclaimer and Stevie Viola for the intro and outro music. You can find him on Twitter and YouTube. And a super special thank you over on patreon.com/greatscreenpod to the patrons on the level of Man in the Fields or higher. For just a few bucks a month, you can get early access to episodes as well as some behind-the-scenes content. Special thank you to Regina, Ben, Gail, Joyce, Melinda, and Chris. I've been Devin Wright.
I've been Adam O'Connell, and just a reminder, we're going to be off next week for the holiday season. We will see you all after the new year. Thank you so much for listening through this year. We so appreciate it. We love you guys very much. We will see you after the new year. Go get vaccinated. Go get your booster shot. Please be safe this holiday season.
Happy holidays. Woo!
See you after the new year.
Krampus.